bars, the beats is the most by far the most boring part to mix. So I'm just gonna hit y'all with the vocals, and yeah, I just want you to see my process so that y'all could remember. For those of you that stick with me and say, "Dang, I remember seeing him, watching him mix this song, and now he's winning whatever award for it, or now he's on stage in front of however many thousands of people, singing along." So let's do this. I don't need all this insight. Need to get rich and get right. Never met a dollar I didn't like. Been like this since I've been alive. Feels like I will never be content if I'm not rich. I can't try and hide the fact that my whole value as a man is determined by what I provide. Even need that shoe when I'm out here like I'm charming. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I'll give up to take offense one my big group so and it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my response. Like for the rapper set. Big buddy business. That is women. I'm not pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump in. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I'll give up to take offense. One my neck with that big stone. Big group so it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my response. Like for the rapper set. Big buddy business. That is women. I'm not pretentious. Right now, I'm just looking up the difference between what is the SSLC channel. Difference between the SSLC channel and G channel plugin, because I'm trying to decide which one to use on my vocal as the channel strip. Okay, so it says here. E or G, often a thicker sound. Okay, wider EQ curves. Precise processing, often preferred for modern transparent mixes. I think we're gonna go with the SSL channel, the C channel. Okay, so I'm just going to go with my gut and try out the C channel this time around. I usually do the G channel. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. By the way, I'm using this speaker right now. That's the only thing I'm using to tighten up the mix right now. Much later, once the mix is like 80% done, then I go into these. And then to tighten up the last 5 to 10%, I go into my headphones. So. Jumping, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I'll give up to take offense. One my neck with that big stuff. Big group so it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my response. Like for the rapper set. Big buddy business. That is women. I'm not pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump in. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I'll give up to take offense. One my neck with that big stone. Big group so it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my response. Like for the rapper set. Big buddy business. That is women. I'm not pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump in. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I'll give up to take offense. One my neck with that big stone. Big group so it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my response. Like for the rapper set. Big buddy business. That is women. I'm not pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump in. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I'll give up to take offense. One my neck with that big stone. Big group so it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. on my response, like what the rapper said, big body Benzes, baddest women, damn right pretentious, can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump in, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing, I plan on getting so involved, I'll give fuck you, take offense, while my neck with that big stone, big group so and it's dissolving, I know this chalk gon' hit home, cause all us won't be ballin', I'm ballin', I'm next, little perplexed, You're probably gonna get annoyed by the time I'm done with this song, but this is why I don't need to rehearse that much with every song, is because by the time I'm done mixing it, I've not only listened to every sound individually dozens of times, I listen to every section of the song dozens of times. So once I'm done with the mix, that's it. Like, it's in here, and it's staying. What's up with the chat? What's up? Ooh, 12 people. Wow, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. All right, let's get back with the mix. Jumping, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense, while my neck with them. And by the way, I encourage y'all to drop a comment. Let me know how this could be a little bit more engaging for you. For those of you who produce, mix, or even make music, drop your comments, drop your page and your Instagram handles, drop them in the chat so that other people can see it, so that we can spread the awareness of what you have going on. Let's go. Drumming, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense, while my neck with them big stone. Big group so and it's dissolving. I know this chalk gon' hit home, cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm ballin', I'm next, little perplexed, on my response, like what the rapper said, big body Benzes, baddest women. I said, what did I say? I said, I'm all in, I'm vexed, little perplexed, what my response, like what the rapper said, big body Benzes, baddest women, damn right I'm pretentious, can I get a witness? Yeah, this is a song, it's called Charming. This is a song about letting my imagination run kind of wild into what would that rapper lifestyle really look like, right? And I get asked a bit stereotypical with it intentionally, right? This is not exactly reflective of what I actually want from this music industry. This is the typical, I tried to sound like typical rapper, but then at the same time, toward the end of the song, I start self-reflecting and seeing what exactly am I really wanting out of this. You know what I mean? And I'm doing this at this stage of the career with this much self-awareness, So I know that by the time the trinkets, the money, and the recognition comes, I would have already processed that, at least to a degree that many people don't process it by the time they get there. So that's what Charmin is about in a nutshell. Charmin, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense, while my neck with them big stone. Big group so and it's dissolving. I know this chalk gon' hit home, cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm ballin', I'm vexed, little perplexed, on my response, like what the rapper said, big body Benzes, baddest women, damn. Ooh, I just put another multi-pressor on it. That's not what I wanted to do. Jumping, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense, while my neck with them big stone. Big group so and it's dissolving. I know this chalk gon' hit home, cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm ballin', I'm vexed, little perplexed, on my response, like what the rapper said, big body Benzes, baddest women, damn right pretentious, can I get a witness? When I pop, you see how crispy that voice sounds? Like, compare it from no plugins. Jumping, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense, while my neck with them. It still sounds good. I make sure that it sounds good. Just raw, right? I'm ballin'. And then when adding, I'm not even done processing, but just with adding the the EQs and compression that I've added so far.
Drumming, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense. Want my neck with them big stone. Big group so hands dissolving. I know this chart gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my cross. Like all the rappers said. Big body business. Baddest women. Damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I'm playing up.
Alright, so what else do we add to this? Let me think a little bit while I check on y'all. I appreciate y'all being in the chat. Pranab, yo. I don't know what WSP is, but bro, if you're saying what's happening or what's up, all is well, thankfully. I hope you are too. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're a creative or anything like that, feel free to drop it, drop the links to whatever it is that you're doing in the chat. If not, and you just come through to enjoy it, then I appreciate you either way. Let's get back to it. We're working on a mix for a song called Charming.
Charming, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing.
And of course, this was produced, written, recorded by me. This is all me, as you can see.
Charming, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense. Want my neck with them big stone. Big group so hands dissolving. I know this chart gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my cross. Like all the rappers said. Big body business. Baddest women. Damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense. Want my neck with them big stone. Big group so hands dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my cross. Like all the rappers said. Big body business. Baddest women. Damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense. Want my neck with them big stone. Big group so hands dissolving. I know this chart gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my cross. Like all the rappers said. Big body business. Baddest women. Damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I'm
just tightening up the vocal. That's why we're repeating the same part over and over again. Over and over again. Okay, so I added that. Now, I think what I'm going to do is add a de-esser. Yeah, let me go ahead and add a de-esser.
Drumming, no cha. Talk gon' hit home, cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my cross. Like all the rappers said. Big body business. Baddest women. Damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jump.
Ooh, when that thing drops, when I pop out, I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All the bad teams, so they got no choice. I'm not clean, step out, they can't decide it. The whip worth more than my chain. Wow, I bring that vibe in. Rich, I don't do no hangouts. I just come through, birds be flocking. And I'm driving things wild. I got $1 million just to walk in. I mean, ballin'. If you think I'm going back to being clocked in, you sleep. Alright. Now we're going to tighten it up with some surgical EQ. Very, since we already put it through layers of compression, different types of compression, multi-band, some more analog, saturated than others. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 compressors on this so far. We're going to add one more. It may seem excessive, but none of them are squashing the vocal, like not even more than 3 dB. Well, I'm not gonna lie. The multi-pressor is doing quite heavy lifting, but that's I use it more of like a tone shaper than to than to kind of make the vocal more consistent as far as volume. So that's why I use so many compressors because I give each compressor its separate task, you know. So it's kind of hard to explain at this point, but just know that it's working for me. And if you have any tips or any like plugins that y'all like to use instead, feel free to drop that in the chat because I'll definitely look for that.
Drumming, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so in.
Right now, I'm just looking for very specific, annoying frequencies. So
drumming, no.
There you go.
So haters dissolving. I know this chart gon' hit home, cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm vexed, little perplexed, well, mine was froze, like. Damn right, I'm pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't drumming. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so in. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't drumming. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll get fuck you, take offense. Want my neck with them big stone. Big drip so. Like what the rapper said, big body business,
and none of them are drastic cuts either. They're like, so far they haven't even been past like 3 dB, and I don't plan to make them past like -5, -6 dB. So they're literally just tightening up the vocal as far as the frequencies that may get annoying over time, you know.
Drumming, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll get. Big body business, baddest women, damn right, I'm pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't drumming, no cha-cha-cha, no. Take offense, want my neck with them big stone. Big drip so haters dissolving. I know this chart gon' hit home, cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in. Baddest women, damn right, I'm pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't drumming. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I don't give fuck you, take offense. Want my neck with that big stone. Big drip so haters dissolving. I know this chart gon' hit home, cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm vexed, little perplexed, well, mine was froze, like what the rapper said, big body business.
There's one more frequency in there that's kind of annoying. Let me see if I find
drumming, no cha-cha-cha, no arg. And I'm
there
vexed,
it is.
little perplexed, well, mine was froze, like what the rapper said, big body business, baddest women, damn right, I'm pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't drumming, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give fuck you, take offense. Want my neck with them big stone. Big.
That one too.
Like what the rapper said, big body business, baddest women, damn right, I'm pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't drumming. No cha-cha-cha, no.
So see, there's like
8
EQ.
Take offense, want my neck with them.
9 EQ.
Big so haters dissolving. I know this talk going.
But they're subtle. You know, nothing crazy. I'm not taking out -10 dB out of something. Like, no, everything is pretty subtle. The most unsubtle I get is 2.8, -2.8, 2.5 dB. The rest is like, you know, less than that. So But cumulatively, right, when you make 9 subtle EQ moves throughout the entire spectrum of the vocal, they add up to something that's much more listenable. At least that's the idea, right? Let's see who else is in the chat. Well, no one for now, but I appreciate y'all either way.
Drumming, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I don't give up, you take offense. Want my neck with that big stone. Big group so and it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my Strauss. Like what the rapper said. Big body business. That is women. I get money pretentious. Can I get a witness?
Now for the last layer of compression. Ooh, system overload. Let me save my project before it starts acting up.
Drumming, no cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I'll give up, you take offense. Want my neck with that big stone. Big group so and it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next. Little perplexed. On my Strauss. Like what the rapper said. Big body business. That is women. I get money pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't jumping. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I'll give up, you take offense. Want my neck with that big stone. Big group so and it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next.
Let's play it from the intro real quick.
I don't need all this insight. Need to get rich and get right. Never better down I did like. Well, been like this since I've been alive. Feels like I will. I don't need all this insight. Need to get rich and get right. Never let her down, I did like. Well, been like this since I've been alive. Feels like I will never be content if I'm not rich. You can't try and hide the fact that my whole value as a man is determined by what I provide. Even need that shoe, well, I'm out here like I'm charming. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I'll give up, you take offense. Want my neck with that mix.
Awesome. So now we sealed in the vocal, the lead vocal, for ideally the rest of the song, but we may make some tweaks later. Now I'm going to move on to the background vocals, and what I'm pretty much going to do is copy every plugin that I put on the lead vocal over to the background vocal, and then I'm going to go one by one adjusting them so that they fit the background vocal, right? Because there's more than just one vocal at a time playing through that background aux, so you got to be considerate of that. So you see I copied everything. Now I'm just going to turn all the plugins off and go one by one. And I'm also going to mute the lead vocal. So
No cha-cha-cha. No cha-cha-cha. No cha-cha-cha. Big stone, big group, so serving. It cause all that's on me. I'm all in, I'm vexed. Little perplexed. My Strauss. I'm the rapper set. Big body business. That is women. Better pretentious. Get away. Charming, no cha-cha-cha. Arguing. Often. Big stone, big group, so serving. It cause all that's on me. I'm all in, I'm vexed. Little perplexed. My Strauss. I'm the rapper set. Big body business. That is women. Better pretentious. Get away. Charming, no cha-cha-cha. Arguing. Simbo Lumin, big stones, big trips over. And I'm vexed, little perplexed. My response, I'm the rapper set. Big buddy business, that is women.
And actually, let me throw in a RVox on every single one of these. It's a very light RVox though. It's I don't think it's doing any more than 3 dB of gain reduction. Very light. Just to kind of tighten each up because there's so many backgrounds. There's like 12 tracks of backgrounds and harmonies and whatnot. So I'm just going to put them on everything just to tighten them up a little bit, right? This is not really doing a bunch of heavy lifting, but I do want to put it on just to have the volume be a bit, just a tad bit more consistent on every one of them. Let's see. I think we're good. Okay, we're good for now.
Charmin, no cha-cha-cha, bargain. Bingo, dolphin. Big stones, big trips over. Solving.
Later, I need to go in and manually edit out like the little mouth clicks and the breaths and whatnot from the backgrounds anyway. But we're doing this.
Charmin, no cha-cha-cha, bargain. Bingo, dolphin. Big stones, big trips over. Solving. Big buddy business, that is women. Mighty pretentious, get away. Charmin, no cha-cha-cha, bargain. Bingo, dolphin. Big stones, big trips over. Solving. Big O, cause all is on me. I'm all in, I'm vexed. Little perplexed. My response, I'm the rapper set. Big buddy business, that is women. Mighty pretentious, get away.
And I'm gonna add a mid only. I'm gonna add a mid only EQ to the rest of that chain. Mid only basically only affects the I'm like tweaking my my contact lenses here. Mid only affects the mid channel straight down the middle. And I'm doing that to the background vocals because of course what I want to be straight down the middle up front and center is the lead vocal. So I don't want a bunch of background vocals who are also up front and center. I want them more to the side. So I'm lowering some of the highs in the mid channel of the background vocals so that the lead can take up. Now it's not gonna be anything drastic, but it'll make a difference.
Charmin, no cha-cha-cha, bargain. Bingo, dolphin. Big stones, big trips over. Solving. Big O, cause all is on me. I'm all in, I'm vexed. Little perplexed. My response, I'm the rapper set. Big buddy business, that is women. Mighty pretentious, get away. Charmin, no cha-cha-cha, bargain. Bingo, dolphin. Big stones, big trips over. Solving. Big O, cause all is on me. I'm all in, I'm vexed. Little perplexed. My response, I'm the rapper set. Big buddy business, that is women. Mighty pretentious, can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't need that shoe. Well, I'm out here like I'm Sean.
Now I bring in the lead vocal to see if they're gonna clash to some extent, but how much do they clash exactly? Especially since I haven't put this background vocal through a widener yet, you know, to widen the stereo field of it. Each background vocal is panned somewhat. They're not panned hard left and hard right. They're more like 30-ish percent, right? Some of them are panned much more far left and far right, but none of them are panned completely hard left and hard right. So
Need that shoe while I'm out here like I'm Sean. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give up, you take offense. One my neck with that mix on. Big trip so it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us gon' be ballin'. I'm ballin', I'm vexed. Little perplexed. On my strokes. Like what the rapper said. Big money business. Baddest women. Them money pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't need that shoe. Well, I'm out here like I'm Sean. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give up, you take offense. One my neck with that mixed on. Big trip so it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us gon' be ballin'. I'm ballin', I'm vexed. Little perplexed. On my strokes.
Alright. Pretty good, pretty good. I'm gonna save this. And now I'm gonna do the same thing to the harmonies. A lot of people use the same bus for the backgrounds and harmonies. I don't think that's a bad idea. It's certainly a simpler idea, or at least in theory. To me, I don't do that because I end up having so many backgrounds and so many harmonies. You know, I may have a three-part, I may have, let's say, like, let me just show you how much I have here. Just in this section right here, this is the backgrounds and harmonies. Do you see how many vocals there are? That's not the lead vocal. The lead vocal would just be one more, right? But that's 4, 12, 16, that's 18 different parts. They're not all playing at the same time, but many of them are playing. Like this section right here, they're all playing at the same time. So I'm not gonna run all 18 of them to one bus. I'm gonna split them up, and they don't all have that same level of prominence in the mix. At least they're not supposed to. Some harmonies are really just like, for example, the falsetto harmonies. Like there's the ones that background vocals like all in, I'm vexed, little perplexed, those I have two of those. But then the all in, I'm vexed, little perplexed, that one may be in the harmony, and I'm not saying that's exactly how I set it up, but that's kind of the way I think is that one may be in the harmony bus because I want it to be slightly different process. You know, whether it's a different delay, a different reverb. It could be for the most part the same EQ and compression and whatnot, but for the effects, you know, I want them to sit in a not a completely different space because all the vocals are going to be sitting in a similar space, but there's going to be certain delays and reverbs usually, and certain widening techniques that I use that are different from not only the lead vocal but the background vocal specifically. So yeah, I'm going to take a quick break. So I'm going to leave y'all with the instrumental, and I hope y'all enjoy it. And I'll be right back. Yo, what's the name? W song, I appreciate you. What's the name? It's actually called Charming. Charming, no cha-cha-cha. Nah, it's just Charming. And it's not out yet. It's probably gonna take a while for it to go out. But I'm just that ahead. Enjoy for now. I'll be right back. Simple stuff, you know. A piano and some very hard drums and bass. Yup, yup, yup. And as you can tell, I'm mostly influenced by jazz. Give me a second. Okay. Give me a second, yo. All right, so we're gonna tighten up the mix a little more, and then we're gonna head out. I'll probably stop at around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Just because I want to go live my life. I want to go live my life. That's very important. That's very important. That's very important. Look, I went through a decade-long period of just refining my craft, and I think that's super important for anyone doing anything creative. Is just locking in for a period of time. But after that, at least for me, I felt like I missed out on a lot of life, right? And this has nothing to do with the mix. I know I get you, but this may be something that resonates with you. I missed out on a lot of life just staying inside, working on beats, working on mixes, working on my rap ability, my singing ability. I missed out on a lot of life, and of course, that the idea is that it will pay off, you know. And I have no doubt that it will. I really don't. Now I'm just like I'm to the point where I kind of want to live a little bit, just a little bit. I'm not a crazy party goer. Like I don't really do too much, honestly. But I like going outside. I like going to the beach and just watching the water, right? I like breathing fresh air. So just things like that. I feel like it's really important. Staying in the studio is great. It's great. But when I'm not in the studio, I'm either training, I'm working, or I'm out in nature, doing something. So hopefully that resonated with some of y'all. But anyway, don't feel guilty about living life. Okay? Don't feel guilty about living life. As long as you're not utterly destroying yourself. Please don't destroy yourself. Because I know that the whole I'm going to live my life thing usually means you're going to be doing a whole bunch of dumb shit out in the streets, right? That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I mean just be yourself outside. That's essentially what I'm getting at. Be yourself, but outside. I don't know what that feels like. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to the mix.
Solving, I know this song gon' hit home, cause all us gon' be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm next, little perplexed, on my response, like the rapper said, big buddy business, baddest women, damn right pretentious, can I get a witness? When I pop out, I won't need that shoe, well I'm out here like I'm John.
Subtle stuff.
Get away, baby.
Hey. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Falling, I'm vexed. Little perplexed. Let me use a completely separate type of compressor here. I'm gonna use the gray compressor instead of the regular one for the LA2A. Let's see. Let's see. I may be bugging, but let's see. At least for the harmonies. Yeah, it's just that's why I'm usually using the gray compressor for the LA2A, but it made the vocal so because the music, the drums are hard, the bass is hard, but honestly, when you compare hard to like some, Chicago drill or something, the it's not a hard beat. It has very prominent bass for sure, but it's mostly a chill, laid back beat. So I felt like the gray compressor was just it was giving it a little too much grit, right? A little too much like that type of thing. So I'm just using the regular compressor to kind of smoothen it out a bit, but still give it a bit of analog warmth. Hey. Uh-huh. Hey. Ballin', ballin', charmin', charmin'. Ballin', ballin', Mex, to the flex, represent, big business, best women, no pretentious, get away, baby. This one, so how the background vocals have at the end of the chain just a mid EQ, right? Not mid as in quality. I mean like mid as in only affecting the mid channel. Um, I'm going to add another one. I copied over that one, but I'm also going to add just a side EQ as well to just the harmonies. The background vocals are what they are, just so that it can be just a little bit more different, just a that bit more different, if that makes sense, compared to the background. Since they're all going to be panned out to the sides, but I need just a bit more standout from the harmonies. Just a little bit, though. So we're doing side EQ for that. These contacts are crazy, bro. Oh my god. All in, I'm next. Can I get a Whitney? Can I get a Whitney, you bitch? Alright, so let's put them, well, let's bring in the backgrounds. Be ballin', I'm ballin', I'm next. Little perplexed, on my response, back of the rapper set, big buddy business, baddest women, damn mighty pretentious, can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green, Rolls Royce, all the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my chains. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich on you know, hang on, so just come through, birds be flocking, and you know I'm driving dangerous. I got a million just to walk in, I mean. Ballin', if you think I'm going back to being clocked in, you hopped in and went 2 hours later with a lady so bad, can't believe my eyes. You don't need way more than I ever needed to see my product. Alright, so let's listen to that whole intro. We haven't done really any delays, reverbs, anything like that. And that's probably what we're going to tighten up in the last 15 minutes, but let's see. And this is, I don't plan to get a final mix like in the next 15 minutes. It's probably going to take another mixing session, but we got the bulk of it done, and we have the bulk of it done through just this, right? You're seeing these speakers, but I'm not using these speakers right now. I'm tightening up at least 80% of this mix through just this this mono speaker, because if you can get it sounding good here in this little thing, oh, they're gonna sound great here, and then they're gonna sound excellent after I tighten them up with the headphones, and then go back and forth with the car and whatnot, see how they sound in the car, make a few iterations of the mix there, solid. So let's go.
I don't need all this insight. Need to get rich and get right. Never met a dollar I think like. I've been like this since I've been alive. Feels like I will never be content if I'm not rich. You can't try and hide the fact that my whole value as a man is determined by what I provide. Even need that shoe, well I'm out here like I'm Sean. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll give up, you take off. And one my neck with them mix. Make you so it's dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us gon' be ballin'. I'm ballin', I'm next. Little perplexed. On my response. Like a rapper said. Big money business. Baddest women. Damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green, Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip was more than my time.
Let me add like a little silence right before that drop.
Witness. When I pop out, I want Matt Green, Rolls Royce.
I mean, I feel like it's already pretty sparse.
Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green, Rolls Royce.
But let me just add that little bit of silence right before.
Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green, Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip was more than my chains. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hangouts. So just come through, birds be flocking. And you know I'm driving things wild. I got a million just to walk in. I mean, ballin'. If you think I'm going back to being clocked in, you hopped in and went 2 hours later with a lady so bad, can't believe my eyes. You gon' need way more than I ever needed to see my product. I've been used to compromise, now I got options.
All right, we finally made it to the chorus. Poppin'. Used to compromise, now I got options, and now this is life. You know I've been locked in, always hustling, no stopping. All day, all night, I pop in. And I'm feeling like I'm a little boxed in. Now this is life. You know I've been locked in, always, all time, no stopping. I'll pay that price on. No auto-tune. I'll pay that price on. It's a simple little melody. I be forgetting English sometimes, yo. All right.
I ever needed to see my product. I've been used to compromise, now I got.
So what I did right now was I just routed all of the harmonies and backgrounds appropriately, and I haven't even tweaked it yet. So let's see how it
I
goes.
ever needed to see my product. I've been used to compromise, now I got options.
For the one person in here, you know I appreciate you. Whatever you got working, anything creative or anything like that, feel free to drop it in the chat. Let's support each other. I'd love to hear from you. We locked in, yeah.
I've been feeling like I'm a little boxy. In the lights, gotta stay plugged in. Always on time, don't stop it. I'll play that price. Been sentimental about one thing. Get a little time lapse while I go unlink all this.
Whew. Whew. Fire, 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 fire. Oh. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to start with the delays. Delays, reverbs, and wideners. Maybe some phasers, right? Just something to get more out of the stereo image. So I got reverb, delay, and I'm gonna actually have a few reverbs and delays, at least two, right? Because I need one for, at least as far as the delay, I need two different delays for the vocals because there's so many vocals that I don't want all of them to have that same delay, especially since I'm going to be side chaining the vocals. So, I'm going to be putting a compressor on the delay, so when the vocal comes in, the compressor slams the delays down, and then when there's a break in the lead vocal or in whatever vocal, the compressor lets up and lets the delay through. Right? It's a very simple technique, but it allows. It's called ducking. So it allows the delay to not be so in the way of the rest of the vocal, right? You could also just like add different panning techniques and whatnot to the delay, which I am going to do, or just stereo field techniques like phasers, for example. But yeah, there's a lot. But let's just get to this. Okay, so there's going to be definitely going to be more, at least two reverbs as well, because I'm going to need that for the main piano. So, yup. So verb. All right. For this one, for the vocal, actually, nah, nah. There's a lot of forethought that goes into mixing, to be honest, because it's almost like you're building a house, right? So you need to have everything charted before you actually build anything. It's not exactly like that, right? We're not architecting, but we're architecting in a sense. So, all right, let's see. We have two delays, two reverbs, and I'm going to be putting on here. All right. We may add a third. We may add a third reverb just for the instruments, not for the vocals, anything vocal related. We may actually have a fourth reverb for some of the drums too, now that I think of it. So, let me see. Let me just make a note here so that when I come to this mix later on, like even if it's months later, I'm not like, what is this first, second, third, fourth reverb doing here, you know? So, verb 1, vocals. Verb 2, backgrounds, arms. Verb 3, instruments. Verb 4, drums. Now, you don't need to copy what I'm doing, but that's kind of how I figured things out. And let's see. Hopefully, it doesn't get too messy, right? But it's adding 4 reverbs to your entire mix is way better than adding dozens of reverbs to each one of these vocal tracks. You know, I hope you're still not doing that. Definitely bus your delays and reverbs instead of adding separate ones to each individual track, because that's going to eat up your CPU so fast. All right, so delay. I'm going to go with the Sound Toys. I like the Echo Boy Junior. I'm not gonna lie, the Echo Boy is great, but that Echo Boy Junior, there's just something about its simplicity that I really like. So let me kind of compare it real quick to the Echo Boy. Yeah, I mean the Echo Boy is. I just feel like it's like I love the fact that the Echo Boy Junior has different modes of delay. You know, so different characters of delay. But anyway, for the reverb, I'm going to go with the neo verb. Ooh, what did I do? The neo verb for sure for my first vocal reverb. The neo verb pro, because we're going to use that AI assistant. And don't worry, I don't just rely on AI to do all my mixing. I just use it as a starting point, at least for this reverb. Um, All right, for my second verb, I'm going to add the Abbey Roads. Let's see, Abbey Roads Chambers. Uh, hmm, hmm, hmm. I may just need 3 reverbs instead of 4. Let's see. Let's do the Abbey Road chain. Ugh. Let's do the Abbey Road chambers. Okay. For the fourth reverb, or the third reverb, we're going to do. Third reverb, we're going to do round, right? Round, which is a native, super simple native instruments reverb. I love it. It's excellent. I haven't used it for vocals, but it'll probably do get the job done with vocals too. So we're going to do that. We're going to slap a compressor on, just regular Logic compressor. I don't need anything fancy because all we're going to do is just sidechain it. Oh, and also I need to add a master vocal or an all vocal bus that has all the leads, backgrounds, and harmonies all going to this all box bus. And we're going to put it there. Okay, cool. So first echo boy is going to be to the lead vocal. Let me see what bus the lead vocal is. It is numero 10. Yes. All right. Shout out to those from immigrant parents, by the way. We're going through a tough ass time. I know. I know. We've always been going through a tough ass time, but now more than ever. So shout out to y'all. If you feel something strongly about the fact that I'm from immigrant parents, in a negative way, like I said, we could have a discussion about it. But if you're already very like, oh no, these immigrants need to get the fuck out the country, well then, how about you start asking your country to stop invading those countries so that the immigrants don't feel like they need to leave? Oh, you don't want to do that, do you? All right, so get the fuck off my page, okay? But for the rest of us, we out and we rocking, or we in here and we rocking. Let's go.
I don't need all this insight. Need to get rich and get right.
Let me actually turn off the. Let's see. I appreciate it. To that one person still in here. If it's the same person, you a legend. We legends in here in this space. Yes, we are. And you know what we're gonna do? What we're doing right now is we're winning. And when this live comes off, guess what we about to do? We about to win some more. Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. If I don't know really what gender you are, but
Never met a guy like him, like, been like this since I've been alive. Feels like I will never be content if I'm not rich. You can't try and hide the fact that my whole value is a man.
All right, cool. So let's go to the Echo Boy, and let's just.
Man is determined by what I provide, even eat this food when I'm out here. I'm out here like I'm charmed. Charming, no cha cha cha, no art.
Okay, so one delay is going to be eighth note delay. The other is going to be quarter note delay, maybe even longer, but we'll start there and then we'll adjust accordingly. So
Arguing, I don't plan on getting so involved. I don't give a fuck, you take offense. Want my neck with that big stone. Big trip so head is dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm vexed. Little perplexed. When my wrist froze.
you hear that echo?
Froze. Like what a rapper said.
I like that shit. I like that shit. I like that shit. I like that shit. All right. Can I get a witness? And I'm going to actually route that eighth note delay to my first vocal reverb. Not by a lot, but I want the delay to sit in the more or less the same space that the vocal reverb is putting the vocal in. I want it to all kind of feel like it's one space, even though it's the lead vocal processing and then a separate delay and then a separate reverb. I want it to all feel like it's that one space, right? So we do that with routing, right?
Big body Benzes, baddest women, damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness?
When I pop out, I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All them bad things, for they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide it. The whip worth more than my chains. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hangouts. I just come through, birds be flocking. And you know I'm driving.
I thought I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out. Women, damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out. They can't decide if the whip worth more than my change. Wow, you know I bring that vibe.
And as far as delays and reverbs, usually, I rarely ever, unless it's background vocals, I rarely ever have a delay and reverb so upfront that it's like drenched in reverb or drenched in delay. I may do that for like a delay throw or a vocal throw, but for the most part, I want the vocal to be up front and center, not too reverbed out. There's other people like Travis Scott and Don Tolliver, who their engineers completely drench their lead vocals in reverbs and delays. That's cool too for the type of music that they make. And that may work for certain songs, but for this song, I want the vocal to be right up front and center, not really too drenched in reverb. But we'll see. I might change that. That's what I usually do, but I might change that this song if it works. Let's see how this goes.
Women, damn right pretentious.
Because it is a pretty eerie song. Now that I think of it, and the piano is pretty spaced out, so I may need to actually fill it with a bit more reverb than usual. So let's see.
Women, damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my change. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hangouts. Just come through, birds be flocking, and you know I'm driving Danes wild. I got a million just to walk in. I mean, ballin'. If you think I'm going back to being Glock, then you. Women, damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my change. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hangouts. Just come through, birds be flocking, and you know I'm driving Danes wild. I got a million just to walk in. I mean, ballin'. If you think I'm going back to being.
All right, and now that the AI did its thing with setting the reverb, now I tweak the reverb.
Women, damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my change. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hangouts. Just come through, birds be flocking, and you know I'm driving Danes wild. I got a million just to walk in. I mean, ballin'. If you think I'm going back to being Glock, then you. Women, damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my change. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hangouts. Just come through, birds.
Now I add a filter to the reverb so that I take out some of the lows, which are not necessary, and they'll probably just muddy up the mix, especially with a beat that is this bassy. And then take out some of the highs so that it's not like way out there. I want it to be pretty contained. So let's see.
Women, damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my change. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hangouts. Just come through, birds be flocking, and you know I'm driving Danes wild. I got a million just to walk in. I mean, ballin'. If you think I'm going back to being Glock, then you. Women, damn right pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my change. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hangouts. Just come through, birds be flocking, and you know I'm driving Danes wild. I got a million just to walk in. I mean, ballin'. If you think I'm going back to being Glock, then you. Women are damn right of pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green, Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my change. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hang. Women are damn right of pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green, Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I don't need doubters insight. Uh, I don't need doubters insight. Need to get rich and get right. Never met a dollar I didn't like. Well, been like this since I've been alive. Feels like I will never be content if I'm not rich. I can't try and hide the fact that my whole value as a man is determined by what I provide. Even need that shoe when I'm out here like I'm charming. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I don't plan on getting so involved. I don't give up, you take offense. Want my neck with that big stone. Big trip so it is dissolving. I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us won't be ballin'. I'm all in, I'm vexed. Little perplexed. My mind was froze. Like all the rappers said. Big body business. Baddest women. Damn right of pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want Matt Green, Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my change. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hang out. So just come through, right? Be flocking, and you know I'm driving things wild. I got a few years just slow walking. I mean, wildin'. If you think I'm going back to being clocked, then you.
All right. So here, yeah, I really locked in just now. Okay, so from here, it's already 9:06. Let's push it a little bit. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. I'm in Miami, so it gets hot real fast, and it's 9 p.m. It's still hot. You know, it's still hot. It is hot. All right, so what delay do we give? I think we're pretty much going to give the same delay to the backgrounds and harmonies. It's just going to be a quarter note delay instead of an eighth note. So
Yeah, I'm out of pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I'm out of pretentious. I'm out of pretentious. I'm gonna get a witness. I'm out of pretentious. I'm gonna get a witness. Got no choice. They my chase wild. I don't know they got perfect flocking. Things wild. Sleep. Sleep. I'm out of pretentious. I'm gonna get a witness. Got no choice. They my chase wild. I don't know they got perfect flocking. Things wild. Sleep. Sleep. I'm out of pretentious. I'm gonna get a witness. Got no choice. They my chase wild. I don't know they got perfect flocking. Things wild. Sleep. Sleep. I'm out of pretentious. I'm gonna get a witness. Got no choice. They my chase wild.
Yeah, we locked the fuck in right now. We really are. We sure are. We sure as hell are. All right. Let's do this piano chamber preset, and then we will tweak. These contacts are killing me softly with this. So
pretentious, I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wow. I don't know and perfect flocking. Things wow. See, sleeping. I'm that mother pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wow. I don't know and perfect flocking. Things wow. See, sleeping. I'm that mother pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wow. I don't know and perfect flocking. Things wow. See, sleeping. I'm that mother pretentious. I'm gonna get
I
away.
need to change these contacts ASAP. Yo. Oh my god.
I'm that mother pretentious.
Yeah, let me just throw them out already. Good lord. Like they're truly just like being very difficult. Very difficult pair of contact lenses. Very difficult pair of contact lenses. All right, you ready? You got y'all are getting glasses, Simbo.
I'm that mother pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wow. I don't know and perfect flocking. Things wow. See, sleeping. I'm that mother pretentious. I'm gonna get away.
And I'm like right in the speakers.
Got no choice.
That is not proper mixing.
And my chains
Not proper
wow.
mixing position. I'm so used to like listening to the song through this and being so upfront that I forget that I need to back up with these. Now I'm actually using these for the reverb.
I'm that mother pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wow. I don't know and perfect flocking. Things wow. See, sleeping. I'm that mother pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wow. I don't know and perfect flocking. Things wow. See, sleeping. I'm that mother pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wow. I don't know and perfect flocking. Things wow. See, sleeping. I'm that mother pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wow. I don't know and perfect flocking. Things wow. See, Sleeping on them right pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wild. I don't know hang out. Birds be flocking. Things wild. Sleeping on them. Choice. And my chains wild. I don't know hang out. Birds be flocking. Things wild. Sleep. Just come through, birds be flocking, and you know I'm driving things wild. I gotta be it just a walking. I mean, wildin'. If you think I'm going back to being clocked, then you. Landing, out there mighty pretentious. I'm gonna get away. When I pop out, I want that green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide if the whip worth more than my chains. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, which I don't do no hang out. So just come through, birds be flocking, and you know I.
Ooh, this thing is coming out so excellent. Just excellent. Excellent, excellent. So now I'm going to work on the piano reverb and I'm going to solo it. Should I do? Yeah, I should definitely bust it. So pause. What the fuck? Okay, so all right. Let me do some math to figure out how long this delay should be. So basically, I'm dividing 60,000, which is I think the number of seconds in a minute. No, not in a minute. In an hour, I think. By 136, which is the number of beats per minute of the song. And now, okay, I get 441. Okay, times two. Okay, so I get 35. All right, so between 17 and 35. All right. This one. beautiful sound we're achieving right now. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, absolutely brilliant.
Am I the pretentious? Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I'm on Matt Green, Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide it. The whip worth more than my change value. You know, I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I'm new, no hang out to just come through, birds be flocking. And you know, I'm driving dangerous, but I gotta get just a walk in. I mean, violent. If you think I'm going back to being clocked, then you. Am I the pretentious? Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I'm on Matt Green, Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide it. The whip worth more than my change value. You know, I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I'm new, no hang out to just come through, birds be flocking. And you know, I'm driving dangerous, but I gotta get just a walk in. I mean, violent. If you think I'm going back to being clocked, then you.
Okay. Wow, 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 wow. I am being just blown away by how this mix is coming about. Truly, truly, truly. So, all right. Now I think what would be best. Oh, I definitely need to add a reverb for. Mm, I'm thinking, should I use the same reverb for the percussion loops that I'm using as the instruments? Probably not. Probably not is the answer. So then, what do we figure out, Simbo? Okay. First of all, we need to add a phaser to the background vocal, the delay of the background vocals to make them stand out even just way more. We also need to add a widener to the background vocals. So let me do that. And we're just going to do a simple one, wider. I'm going to have it around here. And let's just push it.
I'm right up pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my change value, you know, I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I'm new, no hang out to just come through, birds be flocking. And you know, I'm driving dangerous, but I gotta get just a walk in. I mean, violent. If you think I'm going back to being clocked, then you. I'm right up pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my change wild. I don't know no hang out. Birds be flocking. Things wild. Sleep. I'm right up pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wild. I don't know no hang out. Birds be flocking. Things wild. Sleep. Sleep. I'm right up pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. And my chains wild. I don't know no hang out. Birds be flocking. Things wild. Sleep, I'm that mighty pretentious. I'm gonna get away. Got no choice. They might change why I don't do no hang out. Birds be flocking, things wild. Sleep. I'm that mighty pretentious. I'm gonna get away. When I pop out, I want that green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but they got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide it. The whip worth more than my chains. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, but I don't do no hang out. So just come through, birds be flocking, and you know I'm driving. This in the middle about one thing, get a little.
Now we're gonna move on to the second verse. Make sure everything is pretty much okay for the rest of the song, and then I'm going to hop into my headphones and tighten the mix up. So, pardon me, my glasses are quite lopsided. I need to get new ones. uh, so once I hop into the headphones, then it's probably when the live is gonna be off because y'all are not gonna hear anything. Um, but yeah, let's rock.
Violin, if you think I'm going back to being Glock, then you hopped in and with 2 hours later with a lady so bad, can't believe my eyes. You don't need way more than I ever needed to see my bride. I'm in. Used to compromise, now I got options. And now this is like, you know I've been locked in. Always hustling, no stopping. No day or night. I've been in the feeling like I'm a little boxed in. Living in the lights, gotta stay running. Always on time, no stopping. I'll wait and price. Just in the middle about one thing, get a little time lapse while I go on the goddess. Snakes in the grass, I caught it. Taking a mask off, hauling baggage with me, I'm too conflicted. Living life on superstition. Karmically accruing interest. What we gon' build if the blueprint missing? Thinking ahead to the time when money's no issue. Check the signs of letting it kill me, a best in the eyes. I just won't flex with the Bible. Fame got rich off records that I make. Meanwhile, I'm stressing the time ain't all this pressure that I take on myself. I question who gon' make sure that I'm safe. But I see it's churning, and I know that I got these deep urges to indulge with the birds and the bees working. Come food and leave worthless, but I use these tools, whips, chains. I hide that I'm fully insane while driving a Bentley move, saying on a bold saying. The closest I get to the talking is flying, or the lights for the luxury leaving me blinded while I consider how tight it I am to the noise, sacrificing the silence. I'm really starting to question if all these materials do more harm than expected. If they come with demons and ghosts, I guess that's why we call them possession. I've been used to compromise, now I got options, and now this is life. You know I've been locked in, always hustling, no stopping, no day or night. I've been in the feeling like I'm a little boxed in. Running in the lights, gotta stay running, always on time, no stopping. I'll wait and price on.
What a beautiful song. What a beautiful song I am allowed to give to y'all. Absolutely beautiful song. Let's do the last
That
bit of
these are the
processing.
business, that is when I'm mighty pretentious. I'm gonna get a witness. When I pop out, I want that green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but I got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide it. The whip worth more than my chains. Wow, you know I bring that vibe in. I'm rich, I don't do no hang out. So just come through, birds be flocking. And you know I'm driving dames. Wow, I got a million just to walk in. I'm being violent. If you think I'm going back to being Glock, then you hopped in and with 2 hours later with a lady so bad, can't believe my eyes. You don't need way more than I ever needed to see my bride. I've been used to compromise, now I got options. And now this is life. You know I've been locked in, always hustling, no stopping.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, this is a done deal. I could just release it just now, but we're not gonna do that. We need to give it a proper rollout. With that said, who's still in here? If you still in here, legend, Bro, I appreciate the two of y'all that are here. I appreciate y'all. And to that one who's been rocking the whole time, yo, I don't know your name, but I appreciate you. And I hope that that light comes back to you multiplied. You know what I mean? So yeah, with that said, we're pretty much wrapping the mixing session up. This has been charming, right? That's the name of the song by Simbo Lumin. It's not gonna be out yet for at least another year. So yeah, we're working because we're just that ahead of the curve, and I just really wanted to share this process with y'all because one, I want to show y'all that I am actually a real person, right? I'm a real person. And not only am I a real person, but I handle everything about my music from the ground up, right? I make the beats, I write it, I record it, I mix it. So there's just so much to this process just to make one song, right? And for those of y'all who y'all just rapper, y'all just producer, y'all just mix, that's fantastic. You know what I mean? Um, but anyway, I hope that you gain some sort of value from this, you know, even if it just felt, even if the value is that you didn't feel so alone, you know. So yeah, I appreciate y'all rocking with me, and I look forward to sharing something else with y'all soon. Peace. Oh, actually, let me just go ahead and play the whole song for y'all. Why not, right? Let me just play the whole song for y'all.
I don't need doubt this insight. Need to get rich and get right. Never met a down like daylight. Or been like this since I've been alive. Feels like I will never be content if I'm not rich. I can't try and hide the fact that my whole value is a man is determined by what I provide. Even need that shoe when I'm out here like I'm charming. No cha-cha-cha, no arguing. I plan on getting so involved. I'll get from you, take offense. One my neck with that mix. Big shit so emphasis all in. And I know this talk gon' hit home. Cause all us gon' be ballin'. I'm ballin', I'm next. Little perplexed. On my response. I go to rapper set. Big money business. That is women. I got money pretentious. Can I get a witness? When I pop out, I want that green Rolls Royce. All the bad things, but I got no choice. I'm that clean, step out, they can't decide it. The whip worth more than my chains. Wow, you think I bring that vibe in? I'm rich with time, do no hangouts. Just come through, birds be flocking. And you know I'm driving things wild. I got a million just to walk in me. Violent, if you think I'm going back to being clocked in, you. Hopped in and went 2 hours later with a lady so bad, can't believe my eyes. You don't need way more than I ever needed to see my bride. I'm hopped in, just to compromise. Now I got options, and now this is life. You know I've been locked in, no ways of sleeping, no stopping, no day or night. I've been in the middle light of a little box in. I'm in the light, gotta stay locked in. No ways on fight, don't stop it. No way price up. Been sentimental about one thing, get a little tired, that's when I go unlink goddess. Snakes in the grass, I caught it. Taking a mask off, hauling baggage with me, I'm too conflicted. Living life on superstition. Karmically accruing interest. When we gon' build is the blueprint missing. Thinking ahead to a time when money's no visual. Checking the signs of letting it kill me, or best in the eyes. I just won't flex with the Bible. Fans are rich off records that I make. Meanwhile, I'm stressing the climate. All this pressure that I take upon myself, I question who will make sure that I'm safe. But I see it's turning, and I know that I got these deep urges to indulge with a verse and the beats working. Come food and leave worthless, but I use these tools. Whips, chains, the high that I'm fully insane. While driving a Bentley, bull sane on a bull sane. The closest I get to the tongue and it's lying. But the life for the luxury, even me getting it. While I consider how tight it I am to the noise, sacrifice to the silence. I'm really starting to question if all these materials do more harm than expected. If they come with demons and ghosts, I guess that's why we call them possessions. I've been used to compromise, now I got options. And now this is life. You know I've been locked in. No ways of sleep, no stopping. No day or night. I've been in the middle light of a little box in. I'm in the life, gotta stay locked in. No ways on find, no stopping. I've been in pressure.
Ooh, drop a fire in the chat if you fucking with it. Drop a fire in the chat if you fucking with it. Drop a fire in the chat if you fucking with it. Drop a fire in the chat if you fucking with it. Drop a fire in the chat if you fucking with it. Drop a fire in the chat if you fucking with it. Drop a fire in the chat if you fucking with it. Hey. So yeah, I'm gonna tighten this mess up for the next few minutes. And I appreciate y'all rocking with me. There's way more music to come. Simbo EP is out now on all streaming platforms. Go ahead and type in Simbo Lumin on wherever it is you stream music, and it'll be right there. The album's also, or the EP is also on my YouTube page. So I appreciate all that support. If you want to purchase it, you can go ahead to even.com. I will make a Bandcamp as well, but even is where we're at right now. If you want to purchase it, that would be probably the best way you can support me, is by paying that little $5 or however much you want to pay for, actually purchasing the material. That is the best, That's however many millions of streams it takes to get $5. You could just give that to me, in exchange for the work of art. Excuse me, the work of art that I'm allowed to bless y'all with. So with that said, this has been Simbo Lumin signing off, and I look forward to sharing something else with you very soon.